Coming up on West Dakota Fox News at 9, a Minot homicide ends in an arrest. Plus, a change in plea for a woman accused of orchestrating a murder. But first, hundreds of thousands of gallons of oil hemorrhaging out of the Keystone Pipeline in South Dakota.
This is West Dakota Fox News at 9 with Molly Martinez and meteorologist Henry Blakes. Your first news of the night starts right now on West Dakota Fox News at 9.
Good evening, I'm Molly Martinez. We begin tonight with a massive oil spill out of the Keystone Pipeline. It happened in an agricultural area of Marshall County in South Dakota. So far, an estimated 210,000 gallons have leaked. Crews were able to shut off the flow of oil and say so far there are no reports of it seeping into the waterways. There are trouble spots about 35 miles long. The cause of the spill is under investigation. In Minot, police say a suspected murderer is now under arrest. 38-year-old Komika Gregory is accused of shooting and killing a 58-year-old man. It happened this morning. She was tracked down and arrested in Newtown a few hours later. The shooting happened inside an apartment on the 1800 block of South Main. No word on motive or how police identified her as a suspect. Also in Minot, a woman accused of helping her husband murder his ex-wife is changing her plea. 27-year-old Cynthia Wilder entered what's known as an Alford plea, essentially meaning she's not admitting guilt and disputes some of the evidence. Wilder is also accused of trying to break her husband out of prison. She'll be sentenced in March. Her husband is currently serving a life sentence. Time now to take our first check on weather with meteorologist Josh Cattermas.
All right, thanks a lot, Molly. For today, temperatures were seasonal for the most part. Coming up in the next weather segment.
All right, going to be a lot of frozen turkeys. Thank you, Josh. The family of a missing Newtown woman is offering a $10,000 reward for information on her whereabouts. 32-year-old Olivia Lone Bear was last seen leaving Sportsman's Bar on October 24th. They say she was wearing a white camouflage jacket and was possibly driving a teal Chevy Silverado. Several counties have joined the extensive search for her. They're looking by car, boat, and aircraft. If you have any information about her disappearance, police want to hear from you. And a New York woman who suffered a serious arm injury during the Dakota Access Pipeline protest will undergo a 5th surgery. Sophia Walensky was injured during an explosion in a violent clash between protesters and police last November. Her father says she has limited use of her left arm and her hand. Her next surgery is scheduled for December 12th. The placement of a stop sign could be a matter of life and death. But in Morton County, someone is using stop signs as target practice. We sent reporter Daniela Hurtado to look into it. Also in Morton County, it's one step closer to having a plan in place for the next 30 years of growth and development. The comprehensive plan was approved tonight by the Planning and Zoning Commission after a public input session. It talks about how the county will develop, when it will develop, and sets regulation on how that development will play out in the future.
The comprehensive plan gives us the roadmap. That's the best way to put it. It gives us a roadmap, and we try to stay on the course as much as possible. You know, if there's a detour to be taken every now and then that detour is taken.
The 100-plus page document now goes to the county commissioner for final approval. A contractor who supervised the $52 million upgrade of the State Heritage Center has won a lawsuit against the State Historical Society. Comstock Construction claimed the state still owed it more than $1.5 million in damages and unpaid bills. The jury agreed. The Historical Society says it withheld payment because the company had not finished the work. A small North Dakota town has 2 claims of fame tonight. Niche.com survey named Ashley School District the best in the state. They also say they have the best teachers. Education reporter Cynthia McLaughlin went to see what makes Ashley so special. There are about 150 students from preschool through high school. Some grade levels have as few as 4 students. Well, some drastic funding cuts could be coming to EMS services in rural areas of our state. State lawmakers heard testimony today. They want to know how the Rural Emergency Medical Services Grant is affecting ambulances in remote areas. The health department says funding for the program is down about 10%. Matic Ambulance Services had its grant funding reduced by nearly 80%. Welcome back. After months of political wrangling, today the House passed their version of the tax reform bill. But as Fox News correspondent Ellison Barber explains, it's still a long way from the president's desk. While this bill is being pitched as a win for the middle class, we spoke to a tax expert of a bipartisan think tank who says it's actually the opposite. Most of the revenue saved is going directly to wealthy business owners who have no obligation to redistribute that wealth. But Republican North Dakota Representative Kevin Kramer disagrees. He says the bill will simplify the tax code and increase business competitiveness.
You see, 80% of the citizens of North Dakota file claiming this standard deduction. That means, Mr. Speaker, that the vast majority of my constituents will see their deductions nearly doubled if they do nothing else.
Critics say eliminating the standard deduction will be devastating for people with student loans and medical expenses. They say the bill would also pile onto our already enormous deficit, making it roughly the same size as our entire economy. Also happening today in Washington, Democratic Senator Al Franken is the latest lawmaker to face sexual misconduct allegations. Radio broadcaster Leanne Tweeden says Franken groped and kissed her without her consent back in 2006. She says she met Senator Franken on a USO entertainment tour. On that tour, Franken wrote a skit that featured the two of them kissing. She says he insisted on them practicing the kiss, even though she resisted. She later discovered a photo where she was asleep. Franken had his hands on her breast, smiling into the camera. Today, Senator Mitch McConnell called for an ethics review of Franken, a move Senator Heidi Heitkamp supports. In a statement, she says sexual harassment and assault are no laughing matter and are never acceptable. Al apologized, but an apology does not excuse the behavior. I strongly support the investigation. Franken released a statement of his own, apologizing for his actions, saying he will gladly cooperate with an ethics investigation. Another alleged sexual misconduct case weighing heavily in Washington, Roy Moore. 6 women have come forward accusing Moore of being lecherous. One said he sexually abused her when she was 14. Despite the claims, Moore says he has no intention of dropping out of the Alabama Senate race. Today, the White House weighed in.
Look, the president believes that these allegations are very troubling and should be taken seriously, and he thinks that the people of Alabama should make the decision on who their next senator should be.
Senate Republicans have urged voters to consider a write-in candidate. Time now to take another check on weather with Josh. Josh, how are we looking? Well, we're still a couple months away from New Year's resolutions, but it's never too late to start eating more fruits and vegetables. According to a study by the CDC, only 1 in 10 American adults eats enough fruits and vegetables. The CDC says 7 of the top 10 leading causes of death in the United States are from chronic disease, and eating a diet rich in fruits and veggies can help reduce your risk. A vintage plane is now at the bottom of the ocean, and it will hopefully be a home for some underwater sea creatures. An old C-30 warplane was lowered into the Gulf of Aqaba today. Hundreds of people lined the Gulf to watch it all happen, letting out a cheer when the airplane was fully submerged. The idea is that it will serve as a sort of coral reef, attracting aquatic life of all sizes. Time now to take another quick check on weather with Josh. Do you do New Year's resolutions?
I try not to. Can't ever keep them.
I always get up mine for Lent.